Hey guys, what's up? Unrested back again, and I'm here with a little bit of a late video. Getting started a little bit later in the day. Had to work another Saturday, but I'm here, and that's what counts, right? That's all that counts. We're going to talk today about ways Japan helps you be a better person. At least the ways it helped me become a better person, and you yourself may encounter these same things that enlighten your personhood once you live there for a while. I just made that whole enlighten your personhood thing up on the spot. What do you think? Pretty good? Let's jump into it. Number one, hard work. If you're going to work a job in Japan, you're going to be working next to Japanese people. Imagine that. I know that sounds crazy, right? But you're going to notice their work ethic is like next level. As in, if you even thought about being lazy, you're going to look so hard in a contrast compared to them that it's not going to work out for you at the job. Like, you'll look ultra lazy if you're not constantly moving and doing work, getting something done. So it gives you that motivation to be like, okay, I don't want to be the guy leaning when we should be cleaning. All these other people are moving around and busybodies. I too should be one of those busybodies. It instills hard work in you if you want to keep up with the Japanese. And if you want to work for a Japanese company too, there's no such thing as show up to work at 9 o'clock, lounge around at the coffee maker, and chat over the football you saw all over the weekend. When you're at work, it's time to get to work. And that's what the Japanese do. And you will have to too if you become part of the working system in Japan. Moving on next to discipline. The amount of discipline I see in the Japanese made me had to try and match it on par to fit in the workplace. Now, look, I'm not saying everybody needs discipline to be locked to be encumbered by, but a certain amount of us could use a little more discipline in our life. I know myself, I can definitely use discipline. I'm kind of chaotic when it comes to me being left to my own initiative. So the amount of discipline that I saw the Japanese have, as far as like they don't snack throughout the day, they wake up at a certain time and are at their job at a certain time, like clockwork every single day. They only partake in beverages when it's appropriate to past work time. You know, all different types of stuff. Like, there is early to bed and early to rise for them every single day. All different types of stuff like that. Once you notice how much the Japanese follow suit with this and discipline themselves, as far as even like how much they eat for a day, counting calories for a day, limiting a certain amount of caffeine intake. Although the Japanese, I'd say, do require a massive amount of caffeine considering how much they work. There's a lot of discipline going on, and that made me realize I too must add some more discipline to my life. I got very used to smaller meals, to being active and moving around the whole day, not just sitting at a desk. Even my teaching style now, I don't sit at my desk at all. I constantly move around because that's the way the Japanese teachers I worked with operated. They did not sit down and look at the class from their desk. They either stood at a podium and taught, or were constantly moving and doing classroom management. And that's the way I handle myself now. On top of it, I even have low calorie intake for the day, hence I'm able to keep this girlish figure that you see before you now. I probably only stick to about 1,500 calories a day and don't go much beyond that because I've gotten very used to either 3 very small meals or only eating 1 big meal at the very end of the day. Discipline. Relentless practice. When the Japanese get into something, they don't just slightly get into something. A hobby is more pursued in the way that the initiative to get a promotion at a job would be, by doing your best to get better and go further than anyone else has with that hobby. They put themselves in 110% when it comes to a hobby. And that was something I started to realize with my own artwork. I would kind of follow artwork outside of my job as just a really casual hobby. Like, oh, maybe I'll pick up the pencil one time this week and get a little sketch out for something I'm a little bit excited about. And then I realized there was other people also into art around me at my job. And when they would get off of work, they would already have an easel set up with all their stuff put out, ready to go, painting a picture every night, getting something done every single day, adding to their portfolio all the time. And I realized, oh, like if they want to be serious about something, this is how they get really serious about it. If they decided to pick up guitar It wouldn't just be like, oh, I'll strum on the guitar when I have time to do so with my friends or bandmates, or, maybe 15 minutes here or there throughout the week, maybe master a new song at some point during the month. No, there would be a certain hour or 2 hours that they would practice that guitar every single day until they could play every single song they ever wanted to learn how to play, and then move beyond that and get even better. So, relentless practice. When there was kids who would join a band at school, it wouldn't just be, oh, let's practice to be a band by meeting on the weekends and fooling around in our garage, banging things and strumming things recklessly, but it was more, we're here every day an extra couple hours after school making all of our songs perfect. It was pretty intense. And I really started to respect that. I realized, gosh, it's kind of wild. Japanese in general, if if you talk to an American person and they say, I can't really draw, I'm not really good at drawing, and then you see them draw, you're like, oh yeah, this person never draws. Like, they definitely aren't an artist. That's okay. And they said they weren't, so I should expect this. But when a Japanese person says, I can't really draw, I don't draw, they can draw kind of amazing because every day they've been relentless with kanji. And kanji has kind of forced them into learning how to draw and being relentless to learn the amount of kanji that they have to have memorized to write, read, and speak the language, somewhere around 20,000 to be totally fluent. They get really good at drawing. And when a Japanese person tells you they can't draw, they're not good at art, they probably got the talent of some of the people here in America who say they are good at art. Even myself, when I would look at what people who were actual artists drew, I mean, just look at things like the designs for Elden Ring, the FromSoft Dark Souls series, manga, anime, everything Japanese. I mean, their art skills are on another level. If you look at some of the goofy stuff that's done in comics here in America, it doesn't hold a flame to the artistry of some of the stuff they draw in Japan. It just doesn't come anywhere close. I mean, even the animation itself, you could look as far back as a very old movie like Akira, and they were able to draw things like explosions by actually setting off miniature explosions and illustrating them and animating them in the same way to get the scenes they did because they relentlessly practiced doing that. It's an intense thing for them. Empathy. Empathy is actually something that is part of school lessons in Japan. And the reason that it is part of school lessons in Japan is because the Japanese realize they are in a very enclosed space. The way Japanese people live is very close together. And it's not just close together in living standards as far as those are concerned, it's close together in every aspect of life. You are close together on the train. You are close together in every line you will be in. You are close together in even things like the simple shopping market trip you take every day, as in shoulder to shoulder sometimes. So there is a lot of empathy taught as a lesson in school. There is a lot of manners and etiquette taught in school in Japan in order to mind the fact that you might be very close to someone next to you and you need to consider not just their physical feelings, but their emotional feelings as well. I have seen people get incredibly angry in Japan and someone else not get angry back, but instead apologize or try to calm them down. I have seen people who collapse suddenly on a train and multiple Japanese people go in to suddenly help them and do things that are not just helping or making a scene or taking pictures like I've seen in some Western countries, but go so far as to take the newspaper they're reading on the train and block others from being able to see or take video or take pictures of that person who's fallen down, collapsed, or had some kind of medical emergency on the train. This is empathy in action, and it is something that is taught from the very early age that kids go to school in Japan. And I have seen people talk about before where they'll walk down the street and see people have emotional outbursts or acting crazy and stuff like that. And they'll be like, and the Japanese don't even walk up and try to say or do anything. These are not situations that can necessarily be taught what to do, and oftentimes Japanese opinion is that these are things that need to be handled by a professional. But if it's something such as a life and death situation, Japanese are more than happy to jump in and try and help. And if it's a situation where, for example, a lost child at a store, I've seen multiple times where another Japanese mom will bend down and get close to the kid and ask like, okay, who's your mom? Where's she at? Where did you see her last? And take that poor child. They won't just walk past a kid. It's not like you see in some of these videos where they're like, this person's acting crazy on the street because Japanese just don't even pay attention and ignore anyone having like a mental breakdown on the street. Yeah, they might actually do that. They don't really know a lot about mental health in Japan. That isn't a priority in Japan. But what is being helpful and helping someone who obviously needs a certain type of help, such as a lost child finding a parent, a medical emergency who needs medical attention. There are practical things that they do handle. There are more nebulous situations where Japan doesn't know how to handle emotional outbursts. This is true. Politeness. Japan, by far, one of the most polite countries you will ever be in. Almost to a fault where I sometimes see it being taken advantage of, especially when it comes to customers in stores where I see them nearly abuse or harass, or when I say abuse, I should say verbally abuse some employees, and that does not make me happy. I do not like to see that. But that's also something I see in the Western side of the world as well. I mean, there's definitely customers who abuse the employees who are simply trying to work a minimum wage job and just, get enough time in at work to feed a family, which is ridiculous. You shouldn't ever treat customer service in this manner. But Japan has some of the most polite customer service I have ever had in my life. There is many a time where I have needed some sort of help that went far beyond what I asked for. You know, places where I've walked into a business and just simply asked for directions, and instead of being like, it's a couple shops down, go here, the person will leave the store and walk me down to the area and help me get there. There is so many stores in Japan where if they do not have the product that you want, they will go out of their way to contact their competitors to see if they can get you the product. They want you to be a satisfied customer and will go that far to even, at points, it seems like, sabotage their own sale to make sure you're getting the thing you want. There's times where I've had emergencies where they've covered the emergency. I had my whole family coming for Thanksgiving once, and I had bought this IKEA table, which was going to be set up for me to have a Thanksgiving dinner, and one of the pieces in there didn't have the holes drilled on one side. Like, it was that kind of compressed wood where you know how IKEA furniture works. And I guess the factory that it had come out of hadn't drilled the holes into the side of the board where I needed to enter screws in. I looked over the instructions again and again and again and again. I was like, no, these are definitely missing where it's showing me I'm supposed to put the screws into the holes here. So I called them, and at first they were like, yeah, we'll get the product out to you. We'll get you a replacement, no problem at all. And then I said, well, actually, there is still kind of a problem. I've got to get this table ready for tomorrow. It's for Thanksgiving dinner here at my house. And they said, oh, well, in that case, we'll rush it, and it'll be there in a couple of hours. And it was crazy. I guess they just added that piece onto a furniture already delivering the IKEA furniture in my area and had someone run it up to my apartment in less than 14 hours. And I was just kind of shocked, like, okay, I didn't demand this, but thank you. This is amazing. This is really good customer service. And last but not least, taking initiative. I guess this kind of adds to being like hard workers, to being empathetic. The one thing I have noticed before in a lot of American jobs that I've worked is there's employees who have a boss and they sometimes wait for the boss to tell them next job, now we're doing this job. There are some I've met where they do take initiative, but in general in Japan, you look for a job to do. When your job has finished, you look to move on to the next job. And I feel like that was something I struggled with, especially as someone with ADHD. I did find in America, I was one of those idiots who needed their boss to be like, okay, Scott, this job is done. Go ahead and move on to this job, because I would just be like spacing out. But then I started to notice when I got to Japan, there was employees who were always like, okay, all this is set up. I got to move to the next room, and I bet you there's something I could set up there. All this is cleaned up. Let me go ask anybody else around here if they need help cleaning up whatever mess they've got in their room. I picked up on this right away and started to realize I'm the only idiot here staring off into space waiting for somebody to tell me what to do. I need to act more Japanese, and by doing that, I need to take initiative. A lot of Japanese will take initiative to make sure the next aspect of whatever they're working on gets done, even if they're not asked to do it. All these skills, I'd say, wrapped up into a bundle that taught me a lot of life lessons, and just watching how the Japanese operate in general has helped me in my career in so many ways that I don't think I can fully explain. It's sort of an ineffable experience of how much better it brought me up as an employee and understanding how to be a better worker at a job. There is many times people try to trash Japan for overworking their people, and they do. It is true. There's many times where they get trashed for what's called Baraku company, which is like companies that abuse workers for working them too hard or even to death. And that is true. There's no denying that. But there is one thing that has lingered throughout the Japanese spirit, and that is the complete and utter spirit of devoting yourself to work, and how far that can get you into a career. How much more it is respected by the boss, how it makes you a shining example of what you should be doing when you work a job. Why work a job that you're going to half-ass the whole time? Get in there and actually do what needs to be done. And then when that is done, look for something more that can improve your situation. Um, that is something I just didn't grow up getting taught at any of the jobs I went to when I first started working in the Western world. When there was time to slack, I also looked for that same time to slack. When there was time to just kind of chill out and wait for the boss to tell us what to do next, I did the same thing. I was there leaning when I should have been cleaning. But after 15 years in Japan, I kind of realized this made me the ostracized odd man out. I would have been excommunicated and did watch other gaijin get excommunicated from jobs for simply going through with this way of working and how we had kind of been brought up at times in America. There's times where some jobs let you be very lazy in America. And me being in Japan that long taught me really the not just the ethics of work, but what actual real hard work can get done in a day. It's amazing how much you can get done when you really bust your ass for a good 8 to 12 hour workday session. And I can't thank Japan enough for instilling that in me. Um, I think that's one of the things that helped me get a job ASAP when I got back here to America. I waited only 2 weeks before I was hired by a company here, and I'm still working for that same company and loving it. So these are all things that Japan will teach you that will help you improve as a person, that will up your entire human ethic, empathetic, and sympathetic aspects of your disposition, and bring you to, I think, another level of humanity. Because if there's one thing I can say about the Japanese, is they have a really humane, outreaching spirit that seems to not just care but nurture a lot of the people around them that they have to work with and pass by every day. Um, I know there's a lot of negativity sometimes out there that the Japanese can be cold, they can be unhelpful, or scared to talk to gaijin. And I think a lot of this is more so up to a situation of them not wanting to lose face when they're confronted with having to speak English or interact with a culture they know little to nothing about, because they are such an indigenous race of people only populated by their own other indigenous people. And that is a struggle I think we as people who come to Japan need to be more empathetic towards, and realize they might not just be trying to act cold or give you the cold shoulder or be rude. There might just be some hesitancy to worry about what they say, do, or how they act around a culture they've never interacted with before, let alone ever heard the language of. So just something to keep in mind, and something that you yourself can see get improved while you are there working, living, and being amongst the Japanese. A pretty positive video, I think, in general, and I think every once in a while we need one of these that has a more positive spin on life in Japan. I hope you did enjoy that today. I want to just give a quick shout out to all my, well, I want to say patrons, but really they're members of the channel here on YouTube. And it's grown quite a bit, guys. I'm like super flabbergasted and absolutely tickled pink that this many people want to be members of my channel. Sprinkly Donut, who's upgraded to Kohai. Yodaru, who just joined recently 6 days ago. Luna Incola, I hope I've pronounced that right, not rice. I hope I pronounced that right. Who is also at the Kohai level. Thank you very much. Ricardo Contreras, An Aloki, who is also at the Kohai level, thank you so much. Slayer Duck, Blind Man Travels at the Kohai level, thank you very much. Jonah Slocum, Ida Q at the Kohai level, thank you, Ida. Ice Cold, Rain Hard or Die Trying, Trick Nick, I Am Sandpaper, Aaron Spooner, Andre Sanchez at the Kohai level, thank you very much, Andre, and Smile Kita 13. If you are a member of the channel, you do get an extra video every single week. I believe we're up to like 4 videos now that cover all different types of things, such as funny stories that happen to me. They're a little more personal. I sit down with you and reveal a little bit more about my personal life, my likes, my dislikes, some of my favorite things about Japan that are a little more personal. So if you yourself want those extra videos and they're a little bit more of a personal experience, you'll also be able to join our Discord as well, which, oh my God, I'm sorry guys, this week I've barely been on it because I had a 6-day work week, and 3 days this week I worked 12 hours. So I was barely home at all. This is my first few hours of actual time off this week. So I'm going to end the video here and try to enjoy them. Nonetheless, I thank you for being here, and I thank my members for being part of the channel. If you like what you saw today, like, comment, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, give me a notification bell turned on, give me a subscription. All those things are flattering and amazing, and make me want to make more and more videos like this all the time. Thanks again. Have a great rest of your day.